Want some tips to cut down your content production and content marketing time? Well, I hear you. Keep listening, because in this episode, I'll share 5 time-saving tips for your business. Now, this is a community-powered episode which was recorded live and features speed networking and a Q&A session with live business owners who joined our B2B Podcast Party. Sign up for our next monthly B2B Podcast Party at simplecreativemarketing.com/podcast party. That's simplecreativemarketing.com/podcast party, and you'll have a chance to appear on our upcoming episode. All right, stay tuned as those tips are coming right after this introduction.
Welcome to Authentic Influence with host Anthony Chansamuth, the show where we get real and share the stories and struggles, strategies and tactics of successful influencers and entrepreneurs so that you too can take action to create the life and business that you choose. And now over to Anthony.
Okay, we are kicking off our B2B Podcast Party. This is edition number 2, and I am going to run through essentially what this is all about. I mean, it's an opportunity for us to all jump on and connect and learn a bit about content, some tips around content marketing that I'll share with you. We'll play some fun games, and then I'm going to open the floor and allow our guests here today to actually share their 60-second or 90-second pitch and practice how they describe what they do to other people. And from that, it's really what I call speed networking. It allows each of us to share what we do and at the same time connect with anyone that might be a good potential partner, potential client. But I'm more of the mindset of let's use this as an opportunity to network and to look for collaboration opportunities, because that's how we grow together. Okay, and I've got some really amazing people joining me today, so we'll share who they are in a moment. But first, we're going to kick off our format here. I'm going to walk through what that looks like. Let me just hit present on my slideshow here. Now, if you're listening to the recording, obviously you're not going to see the slideshow, and that's okay. That just means that you'll have to jump in on the next podcast party and experience it for yourself. And that is one of the major advantages of coming on to the party and being live with us. All right, so let's begin. Okay, just quickly, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor for this particular episode. If you are someone who's wanting to write faster and better, whether it's blog posts, social media posts, for info products you want to sell, you want to create courses and sell those, you want to write, all the content that comes with that, whether you're in real estate. We had someone from real estate on the previous call. If you're doing e-commerce, you want to send email follow-ups to people, Facebook ads, video scripts, legal docs, scientific papers, all of that, even birthday cards to your mum. There's a tool that allows you to do that. It's called Jasper, and I've been using this and testing this for the last, I'd say probably going on to 8 months now since it first kind of launched. And it's really, it lets you write marketing copy very quickly. And if you're someone who gets stuck, like, what do I write? And you're thinking about writing your next newsletter, and you sit there and you go, oh my gosh, well, how do I write this? What ideas can help me, move me forward? It's a really awesome tool. Okay, so what you can do is with this link, which I will say is it's my affiliate link. It doesn't cost you anything, but you can get a free 10,000 word trial of the tool. Just head over to simplecreativemaarketing.com/AI. That's a free trial, and you can play with that. And then happy to answer any questions you may have around that as well. Okay, so let's go. So today's format, we're going to jump in with a 10-minute content marketing tip, and I'll share. We're talking about lead magnets today, so if that's something that's of interest to you, and it should be if you're in business and you want to attract people to you, we can really dive into what that looks like and what's been working right now. So I've really been, I've had clients ask, what's working with lead magnets, in 2022, what doesn't work anymore? Can I just put an ebook out there? Is that going to work? should I be doing a course? What is it? And how much time, money, and investment should I be putting into creating a lead magnet? And we'll cover that in our first segment. Then I'll open the floor to our guests here on the show for any Q&A related to lead magnets. If they have any specific questions, they can ask those. And you guys that are on the call right now, if you already have a question in mind, throw it into the chat, and I'll circle back to it when we come to the Q&A. And then we'll move into our speed networking session. So each guest on the show here will have 60 to 90 seconds to pitch their business, and that will go out, not only to the people on this call, but obviously to our podcast listeners as well. And so anyone who's listening to the podcast will hear all about their wonderful businesses. All right. And then at the end, we'll have a 10-minute Q&A session, which is open floor, anything to do with content marketing at all. I know some of you submitted some questions in your registration forms. You're welcome to ask those or anything else that may come to your mind during this session. So let's go. Wrong slide. We'll skip that. Okay. So we're going to jump into our 10-minute tip today. And I have to start my clock because I want to make sure that I keep it to that 10 minutes. Let's go. All right. So we're talking about creating high converting lead magnets for business to business. I know everyone on this call works with entrepreneurs and businesses, so you're the right people for this. And I know my listeners, if you're listening on the podcast, you're also the right listener for this. Okay. So let's go. Let's talk about why lead magnets fail to convert. All right. So there are there are 5 or 6 different reasons. I think I'm going to talk about 5 here. Number one, they're not relevant to your ideal customer. If you're putting out a lead magnet of something, or a free offer that really is more like an industry report or something like that, but your customer doesn't really care about that, right? So I'm going to give an example. I've got Mike here, who's a financial advisor, works in water finance and for business. So he goes and does the report, which is all about how, what's going on in, I don't know, the finance or the latest tool that the finance world are loving, accountants are using right now or virtual CFOs are using. I don't know if his particular clients really care about that when it comes to solving their specific financial challenges with their businesses, right? So that's what we're going to think about is it relevant to your ideal customer? And number 2 is they don't offer enough value, okay? Or the perceived value of your lead magnet is low value. And it's also perceived as high risk. Now, a lot of business to business, whether it's consultants, coaches, advisors, these type of people, I'm one of them. We're taught or we're trained to start with a discovery call. Let's get someone on a 30-minute or a 60-minute discovery call, have a chat with them. The problem with that is, that's high risk, right? So if you're a potential buyer, right, and you have to commit 60 minutes of your time, and your understanding is, well, they're really spending 60 minutes to try and sell something to me, right? Because everyone knows, we're into 2022, it's no longer a surprise that if you're jumping on a 60-minute call with someone and they call it, whatever they call it, the call, it's got to be, it's going to be more than just, I'm going to evaluate what's going on in your business, right? Because I'm going to sell you something, right? That's high risk, okay? Low value is like, okay, we talked about, I mentioned ebooks earlier, right? Ebooks were hot in 2000, 1990s, right? They were the thing. Put together a 60-page ebook. This is the ultimate guide on how to do graphic design, right? Whatever it is. No one's got time to read that today, right? Like no one's going to sit through, unless they're wanting to become a graphic designer themselves, they're not going to read that, right? So you have to think about, okay, what is a specific, something that I can offer that is relatively short in time for them to consume and to work with, and then that isn't perceived as really high risk for them, okay? Number 3 is that the lead magnet is not actionable immediately, okay? And this is a problem with guides. If you give someone I've seen this, someone put out an SEO agency, put out a lead magnet, which was 80 things you need to do to improve your SEO over the next 90 we right? Now, most of us, unless we're in the SEO world, we're non-technical and don't really want to dive into all of that. We may download it because, hey, why not? But are we going to really open it and action it, right? And so if it feels like it's just too hard, too much work, too hard, right? We're going to throw it into the too hard basket. Not going to happen, okay? It has to be actionable immediately. And then number 4, they're perceived as being, I just mentioned that, too hard or too time consuming. All right. And number 5 is they don't present a logical next step or clear steps to achieve the end goal they're going for. Okay. And then an important piece of this is they don't show the prospect or the person who's consuming the lead magnet. You're not presenting to them what are the next steps and how do I actually help you go through those steps, right? So sometimes, and I've seen this happen, I've done it too, where it's like, oh, that looks cool, I'm going to go download that thing, all right? But I only just want that thing because, and then I get that thing and then I just unsubscribe from your list, right? Because I've got the thing, okay? What didn't happen was, the person who presented it was saying, oh, well, this thing here, this step, if you take this step here, is actually one part of the next 7 steps, right? It's the beginning step. And therefore, if you really want to get the outcome you want at the end of all of this, you're going to have to go through those 7 steps. And if you want some help, we can help you, right? And here's the next thing you need to do after you finish this particular step, right? So they're the 5 reasons why lead magnets fail to convert. Okay, so let's give you a checklist. So we're taking that understanding. I'm going to give you a checklist of 4 things every lead magnet that you produce from today forward has to include. Okay, so, and for those of you on the call, you're welcome to screenshot any of this. Welcome to retweet, share, whatever you want to do with it. All good. I'm happy for you to do that. Okay, and you'll get a recording afterwards anyway. Okay, so step 1 has to solve a specific problem, right? We talked about that. And it needs to, within that, it needs to sell the next step and not the big promise. All right. I've seen coaches sell the big promise. You work with me or you do this thing, you download this lead magnet and you're going to get $100,000 in revenue over the next year. Too far, too fast. Right. Like the person who's in that situation just wants to know, what do I need to do now in the next 7 days? Like, what do I need to do in the next 30 days? What's the next thing I need to do? So that lead magnet has to give them that advice for the next thing, right? And it needs to instill confidence that they can actually achieve the big promise, right? How do we do that? We give them what's called a quick win, and that they can actually do something in the next 7 days, in the next 24 hours that actually moves them one step closer to the goal, right? So that's what we're talking about when we say a specific problem. Number 2 in our checklist is we want to make sure it's low risk, all right? So low risk means we don't want the lead magnet to take up too much time. It's not a call where they feel like they're going to jump on a call with you and you're going to sell something to them, right? And it needs to, offer. Now, in terms of us as the business offering the gift or the lead magnet, what we're wanting in exchange is some information, whether it's an email address, a name, a phone number, whatever's relevant, and it's going to be different depending on what industry you're in. But I've seen different versions of this, and I'll show you some examples in a moment. And now all lead magnets do lead magnets have to be free? Okay, no, right? So I'm going to show you an example of one that's actually a paid lead magnet as well. And so it's okay, particularly in your industry, if it's a common phrase, which is to weed out the what's the word, the freeloaders or whatever it is. Like you want serious people who are interested in buying your service and working with you. Then it's okay to have your first step be something that's paid, but a small investment, right? It's just to show, okay, you're serious, right? And you can test. I would test both, see what works. All right. Number 3 in our checklist here is make sure it's actionable within 5 to 10 minutes of them grabbing it. All right. And so you want to offer that quick win to make them feel like, oh yeah, okay, I'm getting success here, instead of the alternative, which is where a lot of lead magnets fail, which is, oh my gosh, I have to spend 4 hours to work through this checklist of yours or whatever this thing is. Just to come out, like that's just too much, man. Like I can't do it, right? Or woman, right? So actionable, right? And then number 4 is it creates a desire for the next step. All right. So what's in that lead magnet, you're going to present, okay, here's a roadmap of what happens next. Or you may offer, a roadmap call. Okay, your next step is to jump on a call with me, and we're going to roadmap and plan out what your next 3 steps are going to be. Yeah. And we're going to give you, it'd be nice if in that first thing that you give to them, that you actually have a page or something which shows, okay, here's the typical journey that my clients go through, right? Here's what typically happens. Some people call it, I've seen some coaches call it the ascension model or whatever it might be, and actually take a visual model. And we have Colleen Keefe, who's my amazing graphic designer on the call with us. So she can actually help you create these models that she's really good at and amazing doing that work. So, but certainly, yeah, you want to take what's in your head in terms of what are the steps and then have that visually or graphically represented. And then that helps people see the picture of where they're going, yeah, and where they're at, okay? And it needs to answer the question in the prospect's mind, what's next? What comes next after I do this thing, yeah? Okay, so that's our 4 steps in the checklist. Let's talk through some examples, okay? Here's an example of a not so great lead magnet, okay? I'm not slamming the person in the photo. I'm not making any comments around that, right? This is an ad that just came up on my Facebook feed. And I was like, okay, this is a lead magnet. Okay, what don't I like about it? Okay, so let's start with the big text in the middle of the image, right? So you got the images for those who are obviously listening on the podcast. It's a picture of a good-looking woman pointing. Let's do some stuff. Okay, so a good-looking woman pointing at a button that says download ebook. Right. Above that is some text that says automation service will be your biggest opportunity. Okay. My question straight away is biggest opportunity to do what? Like what is the opportunity? I don't know from that headline, right? The big heading there. And then they present a statistic, which is 53% of opportunities for IT business is in subscription model. There's a grammar error already, but I'm not going to hark on that. And then to me, it's like, that's unclear. What does the stat actually tell me, right? And I come from the world of IT, so I get what they're trying to say. I'm just saying it's not being conveyed really well here, right? Now, in the bottom section, if you read the description, it says, okay, do you know hyper automation as a service? Okay, let me get a raised hand from the audience here. And people on the call with me, just put a yes or a no in the chat. Hyper automation as a service. Do you have any idea what that means? Right? For me, it's just jargon. I've never heard, no idea what it is. Okay. And then it says it's helping businesses generate recurring revenue. Oh, that's the goal, to generate recurring revenue. Maybe that should have been mentioned in the headline, right? We can help you generate recurring monthly revenue for your business, right? Or we have a way to do that, okay? Or do you want to generate recurring revenue? Okay, so I'm giving you a bit of a copywriting lesson here at the same time. But then, then it says download this ebook to find out how. So there's just major communication issues with this particular lead magnet, right? Because I don't know what it is, what it's offering me. I kind of work out, okay, if I get this ebook, I'm going to learn about generating recurring revenue. I don't know what hyper automation as a service is. Just too many friction points and confusion in my mind. That doesn't make me want to go click yes, I'm going to go download this thing, right? So that's an example of not so great. Now let's talk about, I'm going to give you 3 examples of great B2B lead magnets. Let's go. Number 1, you may have heard of Amy Porterfield. You might have seen her ads. So she's well known and respected in the world of digital marketing, online marketing, been in a space for over a decade. She used to work for Tony Robbins and run his marketing. So she's got this thing, and another ad that came up on my feed, free masterclass. So this is actually a webinar, all right? And then it says straight away, it says the Post-it note content creation challenge. And this is the part that I love. It says 8 weeks of content in 10 minutes. Do you, and then the question in the description says, how long does it take you to create a month of content? An hour, 2 hours, 10, question mark. I'm going to show you how to do it in 10 minutes, right? Is that compelling, right? So if you're someone who struggles with creating content, right, you're going to go, and you don't really have time, boom, right, hits them up. Once you click on the learn more, it sends you to this page. You put in your email address, and then your name, and then it actually sends you, so this is a clever thing that Amy's team are doing, it sends you to a page or a quick survey pops up, and it says, okay, what's the biggest reason you've waited until now to start growing your list, right? So that Post-it note challenge is actually, goes into a list building masterclass, which is a webinar all about how to build your list using content, right? But then it gives you a survey. And right here, what they're doing, or she's doing quite cleverly, is she's actually identifying where you are in your journey. So she's creating what we call segmentation, right? So depending on what you tick, right, and you're going to choose one of those options. I'm overwhelmed, I'm confused by the tech, I'm struggling to be consistent, I've been stuck in neutral, have no idea what to do, or other. Then that gives her direct information about who you are and where you're at. Okay, because then, and her team then know, they can follow up with you and go, oh, hey, Mike, or hey, Ant, I see you're in the overwhelmed stage, right? Let's have a call about that and talk about what that might look like. Yeah, and that is a much more personalized, and you can even see it at the top of this screenshot here. Once I put my name in the form field, it actually took my name and actually spit it out at the top of the headline. It says, one last thing, Anthony Chancellor. like they actually use some personalization software to do that. Okay, and then you go, and once you get, go to the next stage, you actually get a workbook as well, which is a PDF workbook, which accompanies the masterclass or the webinar, right? Which is nice. So you have something that you can work through, and that all goes together. Okay, so why does this work? Okay, so a quick checklist of why this is a great lead magnet. One, it's got the in 10 minutes, right? You can do this in 10 minutes. That's low risk, right? Number two, 8 weeks of content in 10 minutes. That's high value, okay? Number three, it's got a qualifying survey, which shows there's a next step and there's a pathway for you, right? And that they're trying to understand where you're at so that they can help you, take you through that journey. And then that number four it comes with an accompanying PDF workbook, which you can print out, you can edit, you can put text in there as you're watching the webinar, okay? That's all, to me, that's actionable, that's practical, right? So that's lead magnet number one. Let's go to the next one. One of my coaches and mentors is Taki Moore, and he's like the marketing coach for marketing coaches. Let's put it that way. And his whole thing is he's got a brand called $1 Million Coach. And last year, I think I had him on my podcast a couple of months ago. And last year he helped, I think something like, I'm going to get this wrong, but I think like close to 52 or something. He had a number where maybe it was 150 coaches hit $1 million in revenue. And so this is what he dropped into his group. He's got a Facebook group, which is one of the most active Facebook groups I've seen ever. And he literally just put a question. He put free download, how to stop undercharging, raise rates, and convert with confidence. Want the link, right? And then he literally had 100 people respond to that saying they wanted it, right? If you click on the link, it takes you to a landing page, and it's called the pricing workshop. This is a pre-recorded Facebook Live video. So he actually did a Facebook Live into his group, and then he just took that Facebook Live and he put it behind this opt-in. And then, so once you click in, you get a PDF, right? Which is, it's a one pager. Actually, it's more than one page. It's a few pages, but the first page is actually a framework that you can use to work out how to price your product or service, right? And it has questions and you fill it out. And by the end of it, you're like, oh, okay, that's how I'm going to price my thing, right? And so that accompanies the Facebook Live that he did into his group. So the two things combined become really powerful, right? But even on its own, that's still a good opt-in, okay? So now what I want to show you or talk about here is once you opt in for the pricing workshop PDF, right, you're presented with a thank you page, okay? And on that thank you, what's called a thank you page, but it's another page on his site, which literally says at the top, your next step, okay? One thing I'm missing here is right before you get into this page, there's also a survey that pops up similar to Amy's survey that asks you, what's your goal over the next 90 days? And it gives you 3 options and whatever you chose. I chose the first option, which is I want to get to 10K a month in the next 90 days. And then based on that, what I input, it presented me this next page, which is, hey, here's how you can find out the 3-step system to get 10Ks in the next 90 days, right? So based on what I'm trying to achieve, he presented me a video on a page, and then he gave me on that page, there's he basically talks about, okay, the quickest way to do this is to message me and let's have a chat about it. And so there's a button there that says, please message me the details. to learn about his client's program, right? So immediately he's gone from a lead magnet, which is helping me work out my pricing, to, okay, well, now you've worked out how you're going to price your service. Do you need help to actually get clients, right? Which is a logical next step, isn't it, right? And so from there, it's like, okay, and if you want to do that, I have a program that helps you do that, all right? If you want to learn about that program, click on this button and we'll have a chat about that and whether it's right for you or not, okay? So that's another a great lead magnet. A few ticks for me in terms of why this is a great one. Number one, clear pain point, right? You're struggling with getting your income up to a certain level, your revenue at a certain point. So you're struggling with your pricing, right? Number two, it gives you a fill in a blank template, right? That's a quick win. It's a one pager, you fill it out, all right? And you can do that within 20 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it takes you. Some of these will take longer than 10 minutes, right? I know I've said that in the checklist, you want to try and aim for that 10 minute or less. And that's okay, provided that the value is high enough and the pain is high enough, right? It gives you the obvious next step, like this page that says your next step, tells you what your next step is. And then it also gives you a qualification survey. So it's actually helping Taki and his team segment the leads as they're coming through, right? Okay, the next one, Michael's going to know this one. So I worked with B Ninjas, which is a e-commerce bookkeeping service. They support $1 million e-commerce businesses and beyond. And so I actually worked with them to develop a free zero toolkit for e-commerce, all right? And within that, there are a few, tools that are presented in the toolkit, such as a profit margin calculator, an annual forecast template to help you plan for ups and downs in your monthly cash flow, a salary cap calculator for working out your total salary and how much you can afford to pay for your team for a certain period of time. There's a road mapping template, there's a bonus video, and a weekly newsletter that comes with that. Over the last 12 months, this particular lead magnet has had 594 people sign up for it. So that averages out to be, around 49 leads per month. And it just sits on the website. It's been embedded within various blog posts and articles on the B Ninjas website. It's been mentioned on podcasts. It's in the email sequence. If you sign up for their newsletter, you get an email saying, hey, do you want our zero toolkit? And also there's an inquiry form on the website for anyone who's interested in inquiring about the service, which is a bookkeeping service and a financial advisory service. And in that, there's a question on that form that says at the bottom, would you like our free zero toolkit for e-commerce, right? And if you tick that, then they get added, they get sent this toolkit and away you go. So let's talk about why this is a great lead magnet. Number one, it's low risk. Number two, it's actionable. There are 4 or 5 different tools embedded within this toolkit. I would like to test, and maybe I guess give this feedback to B Ninjas, but I would like to test splitting them out. What if we just offered the profit margin calculator on its own? What if we just offered the annual forecast template on its own? Because when you stack 4 or 5 templates, that becomes, in my mind, overwhelmed. Like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of things I need to do, right? But if I just pull one out at a time and I go, I'll just do the profit margin calculator because I want to work on my profit margin, that I can do within 10 minutes, right? So that's quick, right? And we might get better results if we do it that way, yeah? Okay, let's move on. I'll quickly mention my own lead magnet that's been working for me, for my business, which is how to use, it's a 7-minute webinar. So I'm sticking to that. Let's keep it under 10 minutes. And it comes with a PDF workbook that accompanies, as you're going through the webinar, you work through the workbook. And it's how to use case studies to market your business. And it's, I'm offering this for free, but that's taking all those principles and that checklist that I've shown everyone here, and then applying it, and putting it out there to the world. And this has been performing. I've been getting about 10 leads per month through this particular webinar on my site, and that's not with any active promotion. So if I really put some effort behind going out there and driving traffic to this, then I think I'd do better. But that's pretty good for something that really it took me probably about 30 minutes to put together in total. Okay. Okay, so quick review. High converting lead magnet checklist. Number 1 is it needs to solve a specific problem. 2 has to be low risk. 3, actionable within 5 to 10 minutes. And number 4, it creates desire for the next step. Okay, that's it for our quick lesson for today. I'm going to open the floor now and the mics to our guests here. Do you have any questions? First of all, what did you find valuable from that particular lesson that you could use or you could do something with? Or do you have a question relating to it? Who wants to start? You can unmute.
I've got a question, Amp. I clicked on a Tacky More lead magnet a few days ago, and the next step was to collect a mobile number, not an email.
Yes.
And I was a little bit turned off by that. And I was like, I want nothing to do with this. I don't want people having my mobile number. Do you think there's a line that's crossed there, or do you think that's fair game now? People want your full contact details?
I think what Taki and his team have worked out is they're only wanting to work with people who are willing to give the phone number. Right, so that becomes actually a qualification step in their process, right? Because they're getting, and you've seen it, Mike, in the group, they literally get, for every lead magnet he drops, he gets 100, 150 people saying, I want it. And so he's gone, well, I'm not going to go and follow up with 150 people. I want the 25 or 10 that are going to give me a phone number. And then we're going to prioritize those people. I'm not going to say he's going to completely ignore everyone else. But that becomes, so for their business, that makes sense, right? And SMS, they've also probably worked out that sending people email follow-ups don't work as well as sending someone an SMS text saying, hey, you're scheduled to jump on a call with me in the next 10 minutes or whatever it is, right? And so that's, so it's for his business, it makes sense. It may not make sense for your business and your own ethos and how you want to do business, and that's okay. Any other questions? Thoughts?
No, it was just, it was interesting. It was great, especially the idea of the high risk, because I do try and drive people to have a conversation. So, and I'm not getting, responses for that as much. So it's interesting that, of course, it's high risk. I try and make it low risk and inviting. But that was great to see. Well, that's what it is. It's high risk, and that's why people aren't doing it.
I'll give you the behind the scenes of why I started these monthly Zoom calls, right? These community Zoom calls, what I'm calling the podcast party. It's because I had the same problem as you, Joanna, right? Like people don't want to jump on a discovery call or whatever I name it, right? But when I say come along and be a guest on my podcast and network with other people in the community, and I'll teach you something for 10 minutes, right? You're getting, I'm just giving value, and then then I'll say, right, hey, if you want to learn more about, if you need some help with this with your content marketing, let me know, and then I'll book in a quick 10-minute chat with you to see what your questions might be, right? And that's less. It's less of a risk. So I've de-risked it for you, right? And this actually happened on our last the last time we did this. Remember, there was someone on a call that actually said, I don't want to do this myself. I just want you to do it. Can I book a call with you? And she was literally on the call and said, that's what she said. So and it was just it's easier for someone to jump on a group call and have a chat and not feel like they're being sold to. Rather than commit 60 minutes of you and
Well, that's what I'm starting to put out that invitation to come for to learn some. I'm around storytelling and hear stories, and as a way to bring people into the email, the database, and and to pitch into what I always frame it around relationship. Build a relationship, you get a feel, a sense, and you're more willing to say, reach out.
Absolutely. And one thing you can do, and Taki Moore, because we've been talking about one of his examples, but one thing I really learned from him was take the 60-minute call or whatever you typically do and bring it down to, can you make that a 10-minute or 15-minute call, initial meet and greet, right? 15 minutes, ask me one question, I'll help you solve it. And then, I can tell you a bit about how I help my clients. Right. So that's very much de-risking it for them. Instead of 60 minutes, I have to give you my life story,
right.
you know, and you're picking apart what's wrong with my business or what's wrong with my storytelling. You know, just try that.
Minimize it. Yep.
Okay.
Interesting.
Awesome. Colleen, do you have any thoughts or questions? I know you've been doing lead magnets for your clients for a long time.
Yeah, I just, over time, you learn what works, but I'm not very good at like the putting it into action. I'll make the PDF, but.
That's good. Well, I guess now you have the psychology behind what actually is effective, right? So if a client comes to you and says, I want this to be my lead magnet, maybe you can share this with them and go, well, actually, you know, this might work better for you, or have a watch of Ant's video and always, you know, this might give some ideas on how to improve it. Okay, awesome. We're going to move on. Thank you, everyone. We're going to move into fun time, and we're going to do some speed networking together. All right, so in this session, you're going to share your 60 to 90 second pitch. I've got a pitch format. I've emailed it to you, but in case you don't have it, I will bring it up on the screen, and you can use the one. You can kind of follow this, what's on the screen. I'd encourage you to share your contact details in the chat, whether it's your website link, your LinkedIn, whatever you are, whatever way you want people to connect with you. Got a feeling that all three of you could have ways to collaborate together based on what you do, actually. And then for our listeners, or if you're not the one pitching and you're the one listening, like if you're listening on a podcast or you're on Zoom, but you're listening, listen to each pitch carefully and think about, you know, is it landing for you? Is there something that could be done better? You know, maybe the messaging is not, could be clearer. And this is a learning session, so feel free to give that feedback to the person speaking in the chat, right? If you say, hey, you know, maybe you could try this, or you know, I love your pitch, awesome, that works really nicely, right? And if you do know someone who's a good fit for the person who's pitching, let them know in the chat, whether it's you or someone else, okay? And if you can connect them with that person, that's what it's all about. The power is in the follow-up, right? It's what happens after we do the pitches here, okay? All right, let's go. So this is a pitch template. You're going to start off with, hi, you're going to give your name, your job title or role within your company, and then your business name. Describe your ideal customers. So for, you know, mums who are dealing with menopause, right? That's not my target audience, but anyway, that might be for someone listening, that struggle with menopause, right? So talk about what the main problem is that you help solve, and then explain what you do. And then here, you know, talk about who your ideal partners are. The ideal partners for and when I say ideal partner, it's someone who's best placed to send you referrals, okay? Because they have a complementary service. They're not competing with you directly, and they have your audience, okay? They have the type of people who would work with you, right? So for me, as a content strategist, as someone who does content, you know, we do case studies, done for you case studies, and we do done for you articles, right? I work well with marketing coaches. I work well with other larger agencies who want to outsource some of their work or have, you know, work with us to do that. And they're typically the ones who send me clients, because they're like, well, we don't do that thing that you do, but you know, our clients need that support, okay? And then the best way to reach us or get started is to let us know how to reach you. And I'd like you to remember, this is going on a podcast, so clearly articulate how people can reach you, whether it's your website address. You know, if you're going to share a LinkedIn profile, don't just say LinkedIn, or what's your name on LinkedIn, right? Just tell us how we're going to get to you. And then a bit of fun facts here. You know, we're going to talk about, okay, where are you based? So for me, Sydney is my home. And then one random fact about me is, give us a random fact that some people might not know about you, okay? Example pitch. So this is me. I'm Anthony Chancemuth, Director of Simple Creative Marketing for coaches, consultants, and founders of services businesses that struggle with selling courses and services online. We produce compelling case studies designed to help close more sales. Right. Our ideal partners are agencies, communities, publications, and podcasts that support services companies. And the best way to learn about what we do is to download our free case study guide, which is at simplecreativemarketing.com/winning case studies. I'm based in Sydney, Australia. And one random fact about me, and I think Khalil might know this. I don't know if Mike knows this. Joanna knows because she was on the last call with us. But my first ever side hustle was teaching beginner salsa lessons out of my living room in Toronto, Canada. So there we go. Over to you. Who's starting first? Open your mic and we're going to start a 90-second timer here.
Okay, I'll go.
Go, Joanna.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Lovely to meet you. My name is Johanna de Ruyter, and I'm a public speaking coach from Fearless Communicators. That's right. We want to fear less when we're speaking, and we're never not public speaking. Public speaking happens in all sorts of contexts. It's not just getting on a stage in front of 300 people. So our ideal customers are those people who want to fear less, who want to get on a stage and feel like they're owning the stage, wherever that is. It could be sitting in a Zoom room like this and facilitating sessions. That too is public speaking. People we work with often struggle with either the imposter syndrome that really holds them back. They're not good enough. I should do that better. I'm going to make a mistake. I don't really belong here. I've just got a little message to share rather than here's my message. We also work with people who need to sort out and work with telling their story, the story of their business. So we really revel in getting beside people, small business owners. We revel getting beside leaders in organizations, people like yourself, coaches who want to find a way to tell the story of why they do what they do. So they're our ideal partners. The best way to get in contact with me is through Johanna at fearlesscommunicators.com. You can go and check out our website, lots of information there, fantastic resources. I call Sydney, Australia, my home, but I'm a global citizen, as we all have become in the time of COVID. A random fact about me is that I am performing this Saturday night on stage, 107 Projects Redfern, Playback Theatre Sydney, improvisation and stories. Come and be mesmerised.
Love it. Well done, Johanna. Apologize for butchering your name the whole session. I remember you. Oh, yes, it's
okay.
Johanna.
Yeah, the people. That's fine.
Yeah,
thanks.
yes, but fearless speaking. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I was just thinking about when I was on media, Channel 10 a few years ago, and I just was so nervous and struggled to actually like articulate what I wanted to say. And then, because you literally have, I don't know, what did I have? A minute or 2 minutes total time. And in hindsight, I wish I had some training from you or someone like you to actually know how to, respond to a question and articulate and really share the message I wanted to share.
It's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So how do people reach you again?
At Johanna at fearlesscommunicators.com.
Thank you. All right.
That's Johanna with a J, by the way.
Yes.
Everyone who's listening.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Johanna. Let's move on. Can you nominate the next person? Who do you want the next person to be?
Okay, Michael. Let's see Michael. He's next in line.
Hello, everybody. My name's Michael Walk. I'm a virtual CFO from Trimline. I help service business owners that struggle with growth challenges. That can be when to hire, how to price, or just how to plan for the future. So if numbers make you confused and nervous, then I can probably help you with that. The ideal partner for me is anyone who helps serve digital agencies. A lot of my clients end up being digital agencies as they manage a lot of staff and they quite often grow very quickly. So anyone in that space, I'd love to chat to. Best way to reach me is on email. That's Michael, Michael, at trimline.co. I call Sydney, Australia, my home, similar to Anth and Johanna. And a random fact about me is that I used to produce short films for fun. And that's it.
Love it. Can we actually find any of the short films online?
I think potentially, yeah. I'd have to double check. We used to have some password protected because we were putting them in film festivals, but I'm sure they'd be publicly released by now.
Well, there you go. Maybe you need once you create your Michael, walk website, and then you can actually have some of that in there, because that's awesome. And another random fact that people don't know or might not know is the reason why he called it Trimline. Why do you call it Trimline, Mike?
So the business is a combination of two of my passions, surfing and sailing. I wanted a clean, simple name, and trimming the sails is kind of adjusting the sail of a boat to go faster or to adjust to the wind. And highlining on a wave is going up to the top of the wave to get speed to then go back down. So I wanted a feeling of speed, adjustment, and something nice and clean. So it's a combination. It's not like a word that actually exists in the world of sailing or surfing, but it's a combo.
Michael, that is a great image to talk more to in your public speaking about what you do. Lights up the imagination. We feel something. That's what you want to go for. It's fantastic imagery. Your presence comes alive when you actually start speaking about it as well.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Okay. Over to you, Colleen.
Hello. All right. So I'm Colleen Keith. I am the company of one of Colleen Keith's Sustainable Design Studio. My ideal customers are small to mid-level organizations, companies, or individuals who are struggling with making an impact or really want to make more of an impact, and also really care about the environment as well, but are not sure or unable to bring it into their digital life or their online presence. So I create sustainable brands and websites for anyone who wants to make more of an impact and also care about how their website and brand makes an impact in the physical world and the digital world. I really care about the planet and also animal welfare, and wanted a way to bring that to anyone who also shared that gift, but also wanted to make it real online and have a way to show that they are making a difference, even though they live online. My ideal partner is anyone else who works in the online space, because I love to refer other people. And also I often need other people to refer to, like Anthony as a copywriter or a marketing specialist, or I have another friend who's an SEO expert. So I would love partners like that. Anyone who would work with mutual clients with me. The best way to reach me is on colleenkeith.com. That's 2 L's and 2 E's. And you can learn more about sustainable digital design and also more about me. I call Vancouver, Canada, my home. And a fact very few people know about me, Amp probably does, I've never drunk a cup of coffee in my life. Ever in my life. It is disgusting. I can't stand coffee. It is the worst taste in the world. I'm sorry, Amp. It really is.
I know Michael's laughing because whenever we meet, it's over coffee, so that's all good.
It's because you've got all that, isn't it Dunkin' Donuts your way?
Importance.
Terrible coffee.
I love it.
I blame my parents. Yeah. Years of road trips with stale coffee smell in the car. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been traumatic experiences. So thank you so much, Colleen. What I was thinking about was, I just love the transition and the movement you've gone from. I mean, we met years ago at Hub Australia here in Sydney, and then Colleen's become one of my best mates. But also, just I've seen the progression and something that small businesses tend to struggle with is really focusing on and narrowing down to a specific focus and combining focuses. So Johanna, you caught it rightly when you said, when Mike talks about his sailing and he talks about his financial management and brings those two worlds together, and that's how he came up with Trimline. Like the more he talks about the things that he loves, the more people are like, whoa, that energy is amazing, and I want to speed my business with you. I want to get on the sales and Mike, I could see you doing like trips out into the water with your clients. Like they would love that as an experience, right? And Colleen, same thing, like in a sustainable, how do I create a website that also isn't going to kill the planet at the same time? But how do I contribute to animal welfare and all these other things? And Colleen's got a page on her site which is all about her contributions and things that because of the work that that she's doing for a client, and how that's actually helping her to give back to the environment, to animal welfare, and these sort of other things, which is really compelling, right? And also gives a very clear delineation between who I am willing to work with and who I won't work with, because it's like, well, if you don't care about sustainability, then you're not a match for what we're trying to do here. Yeah. So and I know, Johanna, you've got that within you as well, like certain criteria around who's great for you and who's not so great for you, right? Love the pictures, everyone. So in the chat already, if you haven't shared your website and email addresses, drop them in there. Connect with each other, and then if you want to do it, like I think it'd be worthwhile for all of you just to have a virtual coffee with each other. Maybe the Sydney folks can get together and have a real coffee, but certainly with Colleen, she does tremendous work. All right, let's move on. We're just our last session for this call is going to be a open Q&A. Okay, so let's just check time. We're going to be at 5 minutes over, and that's all right, but I want to give you the 10 minutes space here. Anyone with a question around content, around business, marketing, anything that comes to mind, or what did you submit in the form? I don't have it with me, unfortunately, right now, but raise your hand or open your mic, and who wants to ask a question?
If I've got one, have you seen any better success or failure with like a PDF, like just going back to your lesson this morning, like a PDF template versus a quiz or questionnaire? Or is there any lead magnet that performs stronger than others, or does it just depend on the offering and that kind of thing? Like, does the form matter of the lead magnet, or is it highly dependent on what you're offering?
So what I've seen, that's a great question, Mike. So the question is, what format should I use for lead magnet? I think if we go back to the checklist, and if regardless of format, if it addresses those 4 points, you're gonna do well, right? It's really about as a prospective client of yours, and I know what you do because you've given me some advisory before, and you've been amazing. So I know, right? If you gave me a spreadsheet, right, which was, okay, fill out the spreadsheet that you actually gave me before we jumped on a call together. If you did a version of that as your lead magnet, right, just to get someone to understand where they are right now financially, right? Like, this is where you are. This is what you're, maybe not require that, hey, go through all your zeros and get your total expenses for the month or the last 90 days or last year, because that's a lot of work. But certainly if you can just give me a rough ballpark, and I like the way you did that, because the way you framed the question was, can you give me a ballpark figure of how much you're spending each month, right? Can you give me a ballpark on how much income or revenue came in last month, but you're predicting for the next 90 days, right? And just give me like 4 or 5 questions in a spreadsheet or a PDF version of that, right? Whatever works for you. For me, spreadsheet's nice because I can just jump into the Google Doc and just type it in really easy. But if your audience is someone maybe of an older generation, perhaps I'm not sure, but if they're there and they prefer to print it out, then maybe the PDF version works better. But to me, the value is not so much in the format, but more so into what's it helping me do, right? And if you give me, you could combine I've seen you do this where you do a Loom video, so like a quick 5-minute Loom video that walks me through the worksheet. Okay, you've got the worksheet. Watch this Loom video, and I'll talk you through how to fill it out. Because one of the I love something that you said in your pitch, which was if you what did you say? Was it confused, or there was some verbiage that I wish I wrote it down, but there's something around the emotions around if you're feeling a certain way about money or about finances.
Confused and nervous.
Confused and nervous. That's it, right? That to me goes, whoa, that's me, right? And then you go, well, I've got this, this free gift or this worksheet that's going to help you work through get some clarity, which is the opposite of the confusion, right? And some confidence, right, in your numbers, right? And it will take you 10 minutes to fill out or 15 minutes to fill out, okay? And I'll guide you through it with a short video. Yes, Mike, I want that, okay? Because you've reached me at this is what you're feeling now, and you've gone to I'm going to help you get to this other feeling that you actually want, right? And that's what it's going to do. So you could test either or, but I'd say it's more about give me something that gives me that feeling of confidence and clarity, and in a short period of time. All right. Does that help? Yep. Okay. Thumbs up for Mike. Okay. Anyone else got a question or a thought? Yep. Johanna?
I don't have a specific question. I have to jump off in a minute because I have to get to something. But that's been really useful, really interesting again, this session, Anthony. Just the last session, you invited for me to send my newsletter to you to get some feedback.
Yes.
I did send it. I never got any feedback.
Yes.
Just a little gentle prod to
Thank
say.
you. Okay, I do have it. I've just been on last week. Sure. I had my wedding anniversary last week, so I was kind of out this week.
Congratulations!
I'm literally like doing this call from a retreat center. I'm doing a 3-day retreat with my wife.
I don't want to hardball you or whatever you call it. Just to say, I value your feedback. That's why I'm asking, and really grateful for you for offering even. So I want to say both of those things.
All good. I'll have it to you next week. And you asked a question in the chat about Jasper, so I put the link in there for you if you want to grab that.
Oh, good on you. Great. I have to go, I'm afraid, but it's been great once again. Nice meeting everyone. Love to connect. I might reach out and just it's always good to know more about what people do, to see how we, and if and we may support each other in different ways.
100%.
So
thank you.
Ciao, everyone. Thanks again.
Enjoy your day. Okay, so for everyone else, we're just going to wrap up here. So our next podcast party is happening on May 26th. All our guests that are on here, you're welcome to come back and practice your pitch again if you want, or share it with your friends and let them come on as well. You can sign up at simplecreativemarketing.com/podcast party. That's the link. And then I've talked about, just again, our sponsor for today is Jasper. So if you want a free trial of that copywriting software, it's AI driven. Yes, a machine is writing your copy for you, but there's some challenges with that. But I'll just say it can really speed up your workflow. You can grab your free 10,000 word trial at simplecreativemarketing.com/AI. All right. So that's it, guys. I want to say thank you. I want to thank Johanna, Colleen, Mike for jumping on today. You're all amazing. I can't wait for the day we can all get in a space together and chill out and do some fun things. Maybe we can do it on a boat with you, Mike. How about we take a boat to Vancouver?
That's quite a sail, mate. Let me think about it.
All good. So please, for those listening, subscribe and leave a review, and that will help us grow Authentic Influence. We're coming up to 100 episodes later this year, and so this has been a mammoth journey for myself and to get it this far. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you all next time.
Thanks, Amp. See you, mate.
See ya. Now, just quickly, if you want to check out the show notes for this episode, just head over to simplecreativemarketing.com/podcast, and you can grab all the links and things and resources on there. And also, if you are a conscious entrepreneur, got a professional services business, working B2B, and you've got an interest in building influence and income through showing up, serving others, and being real, then I invite you to join my Authentic Influence Warriors Facebook group. If you want to do that, just head over to simplecreativemarketing.com/community. Okay, thanks for joining in, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Authentic Influence podcast at AuthenticInfluence.co.